Welcome into game day. The Kypreos, Justin Bourne, Sammy McKee. It's the Leaf Hour edition of the Real Kyper and Bourne Show. We are live on Sportsnet 590 The Fan, Sportsnet 360, Sportsnet Plus. Derek Brandeo, Jake the Snake Schultz with you for the next 2 hours as we get set for puck drop game 2 between the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Florida Panthers. Was downtown early this morning. Mm-hmm. Bumped into our Luke Fox, who was on his way to the rink for the morning skate. He'll join us in about 40 minutes. Nice. And got to hang out with IBM today. Mm-hmm. My cool. Thanks to Carrie, who looked after me, MLSC people, and Real Sports. That's where where I was this morning, and
very cool.
Saw the Chef Chris.
Oh yeah, I was there on Saturday night too.
Oh, he told me all about it.
What did
I
do? I didn't see him.
You ate like you were going to the chair.
I did. Pretty much anytime I go out, I do that.
Yes.
Yeah. Good thing I ride my bike a lot.
The one common theme was the vibe down there.
Okay.
And they were getting prepped for the pit there with all those fans.
The mosh pit.
The mosh pit. I tell you what, like, I'm old, but wouldn't mind just taking a look at it just to get the vibe.
Getting into Maple Leaf Square for a minute?
I wouldn't last 30 seconds. I'm being like, can I get a folding chair, please?
I feel that way about concert venues, too. It's like, can I sit? And I'll go.
I think it's funny. Like they've made it a lot smaller down there now. Like because I think there's maybe probably some zoning issues with 100,000 people descending into that little area down there. But I do love that shot that we have now. Every time the Leafs score a big goal or whatever's happened over the past few years, them flashing it out to there.
Touch the real fans willing to stand outside.
Listen, there's some real fans inside too.
There's lots of real fans inside, but there's only real fans outside.
And it's really,
and
I just, the social media from the Leafs have been doing a good job. And they put out like a thing on Instagram of like the rainy night where all those people out there, and they did like film shots of all these people just out there celebrating. I'm like, God, to be young, first of all, and like just the care is incredible. So good for them.
Very cool.
Yep.
Before we get into the finer details of tonight's game, does any one of you guys have a Band-Aid?
What happened?
What's going on?
I don't know. I'm just.
Oh my God!
I have no idea. I'm looking down at my lineup and there's blood all over it.
I don't think I do, pal.
Was Sam Bennett in here? What happened?
I have no idea. I had a coffee. I don't know if I cut myself on the lid or what, but
we need to zoom in on. We need
to. I need a doctor.
I got Kleenex for you to hold on.
Jake, we need to zoom in on that.
It's never happened before.
Here.
Thanks, man.
Just hold that.
Yeah, we're good. We're good. Okay,
Apply
we're
some
good.
Pressure to the wound.
Back to our regularly scheduled program. I'm okay.
Flex Seal.
I'm all right.
Flex Seal.
I mean, I would bleed for this show. You know that, right?
I mean, hasn't stopped you. You're ready to get right back into the fight.
All right.
Over 4 years, there's been a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, brother.
Well, we can add blood. I don't know. Actually, my nose did bleed on the show the one time, so we have put some blood into it.
We got a Stolar's update, Sammy.
Yeah.
No real surprise on what we're hearing. What did we get out of the clip today, Sammy?
Just play it.
All right.
Clip 1.
Craig Berube.
Recovering, he's just recovering. So he's doing well. Murray's a backup.
A timeline on Anthony?
I don't.
There you go. There's your update.
I don't.
Murray's the backup. That's the update out of that.
Matt Murray could be in a playoff game for the Toronto Maple Leafs in
won't.
2025 at some point.
All indications are that he is recovering. He feels better. They'd look like idiots if they played him tonight.
I think that's fair. So that's encouraging to hear you say that. So you're implying you think he maybe could, but they'll give him a game.
If it was a game 7, they'd have to make a very hard decision. They're not at that place, and they need to give him time to kind of catch his breath.
Yeah.
But that's Joseph Woll stepping in right now.
So you think if the stakes were higher, and I guess game 2, second round is pretty high stakes, but you think that after a guy gets bonked in the head and pukes on the bench, and you think he's
maybe
not
he's
as
not
hurt?
concussed?
Sammy,
Probably concussed.
I'm just asking.
Teams are very careful on what they leak or how it's presented. No one's used the C word, concussion.
Mm-hmm.
No one's
Yeah,
implied that
that's
it's
true.
a concussion.
Except for me,
So
who doesn't know anything.
Whatever the case is, I believe if they felt like it was a must win, and I believe if they thought that Stolars could give them the best shot at winning, they'd find a way to play him. But they're up 1-0. I've gone on a couple of occasions and said, think about Joseph Woll, even prior to him getting bonked in the head. You can't present two goalies like they have all season long and just not feel like Joseph Woll can come in here and get the job done. You
That's
have
what this
have to lean on the message that you've sent all season long, and this fits right into it.
We have full faith in this other guy. You know, they were probably 55 to 45% on which guy was going to start game one anyway. So yeah, you get a chance to get Woll in, no big deal.
We can move on from this, but I would say it's pretty encouraging that I did think, people asking about the Stolars thing. What do you think about Stolars? And multiple blows to the head. Guy pukes on the bench, leaves the game. Stretcher talk, ambulance talk, hospital talk. They're like, when do you I was telling people, would you think you'd see him again for the playoffs? It felt like a pretty serious situation. So it's encouraging to hear that there's potential.
I think the danger with the throwing up was that something else could be going on. I'm not sure.
That's shellfish? What are you talking about here?
I didn't when I suffered a concussion, my career ender, I didn't experience a lot of throwing up.
No.
But there's some that believe that might be an early sign of maybe potentially a brain bleed.
Oh.
So
that's the
I get the being overcautious here.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
absolutely.
Totally understand. Now, he was also released, I think, a few hours later. So it's not like you spent the night. It's not like we're going to run a series of tests. You're not going through an MRI or a CAT scan, at least as far as I know. Maybe it did happen to without my understanding or knowledge of it, and that's okay too. But I don't think that that's the case here. So outside of that, feel better. Plenty of liquids, the good kind.
Yeah.
And get yourself ready, and we'll watch Joseph Woll. Does he come up with a solid game? Does he find a way to win this game tonight and then present a question about a game three?
Well,
starter?
You would love to have that conversation. I think it's important to, before we get too far into this show, to just state the position that I have and that McKee has, and we haven't gotten to you yet. But Sam, how do you feel about tonight?
Sometimes off-air thoughts, and I don't want to trickle on there, but I'll trickle them on here. I would be surprised at a Toronto Maple Leafs victory tonight.
Yeah.
I think this is a back against the wall, not back against the wall, that's maybe too much, but you lose the first game. They're not great for a part of that game. This is the championship effort tonight out of the Florida Panthers. That's how I'm feeling, at least, heading into it.
And I think you're getting a really good Panthers game. That first game, they didn't come out with any sort of anything.
Oh, they were sleepy.
And so I think these guys have won the Cup. They have been to the Cup final 2 years in a row. They know what it takes. You're getting an effort out of the Cats tonight.
Yeah.
And so I think it's basically a Joseph Woll or bust game. He's either great or they lose. That's that's what I think is going to happen tonight. Are we way off, Kip, in the vibe?
No, for sure. I'm with you all the way with a better Florida team, one that will present with much more urgency than the first 40 minutes that we saw in game one.
Yeah.
But I also kind of flip it outside of Joseph Woll. If you're the Leaf team here and you've got so much more still to give here.
That's true.
I didn't feel like they have yet to really present a great 60 minutes of hockey. I think they're due for a really good game top to bottom, and I don't know if it's tonight or not.
The Leafs?
Yes.
Wow, I mean, they were really good for 56 minutes of that game.
They've also been a team that's gotten a few bounces. It's kind of going their way here, but I'm not suggesting that will stop. But what I am saying is that they should feel like somewhat fortunate to be in a position of being up 1-0. And
they earned that last game.
For 40 minutes.
Yeah.
But they also got some good bounces. The Tanev goal, like that was a goal you just couldn't find in the playoffs in years past. They're getting breaks here. My point is that I think they must feel like we have still yet to present as a really top to bottom great effort, great start to finish, attention to detail. Don't lack energy in certain portions of the game. I think that there's a game coming for them in that aspect.
Yeah, I mean, I know, last game.
Think about what 2-0 does for you.
Oh, I know. And that's, the other team has a say too. You rarely you're good from the start, you're good till the end. Like, I don't think that happens very often. But to your point, they are where they are, and Matthews and Marner haven't taken over a game, really. They haven't had a game where they're the best group on the ice. And that not just can happen, that will happen.
But it does feel differently with them, too, as well. And I think in the past, we can sit there and just say, okay, if they're on the score sheet, great, we leave them alone. If not, they're their first targets, right? But, hey, Barkov and Reinhart didn't look that great. And I think it was Matthews and Marner that had a big...
Sure, they outscored them.
Right?
They outpossessed them. They out everything. They were better than that line.
They were better than that line, which had a
good point,
big effect on the game.
Yep.
And again,
feel that for sure.
Yeah.
Once again, though, like, Craig Berube, when it comes to Matthews and Marner, I get the sense that I want defense first. I know if push comes to shove and they're down a few goals, they'll open it up and they'll present more of an offensive threat. But right now, they're in the wheelhouse, and a couple of good early leads helped the Ottawa Senators series out big time because now you're not pressing. Game one, same thing. Yeah. You got your big lead. These guys are in a defense-first mode, and they don't need to push like that. I don't know what a 2-0 what a 2-0 lead does tonight for them and how they feel. But if you're not chasing it, then Matthews seems to be comfortable enough to play solid defense, win face-offs without looking like he's lighting up the score sheet.
I will take what I said, and I agree with you, and I'll change my opinion on that. I agree that they did a great job against the other team's top line, which is a very good top line.
But they don't get enough credit, in my opinion, for that because people are too busy going, where's the offense?
So what I will add to what I said, though, is Matthews isn't going to shoot 4.2% forever. That's what he shot the last 17 games. He's not going to, he had 11 shot attempts last game. They're going to have a game or 2 games or whatever where they do shoot it in the net, where they get a few more breaks, and they're a little more validated on the stat sheet for a great game. But they were good last game. That's a good point.
I just to go back to your 60-minute thing, like you're at the point of the playoffs, Kyper, where you're not going to get to do that. Like it's not like you're playing on a Tuesday night against the, I don't know, pick a crappy team against the Philadelphia Flyers. No. Like he said, Panthers get to play too, and they're going to dictate terms too. Like they are the defending, they may be the best team left that you're playing against. So like it's going to be really hard.
I know,
to have a 60-minute
I know that, but the whole idea for me is when those lapses happen, and if you can minimize them, and the whole idea is that you finish really strong. And I don't know of a better example of playoff hockey than the Edmonton Oilers again last night, where
oh my God, they're so good.
Like they got off to a tough start, but then it was like foot on the pedal, and they were relentless and never looked back.
5 straight comeback wins for the
right?
Oilers.
Like that to me is a look that kind of buries a slow start. For the Leafs, it's almost the opposite, where it's like they got to find a way to kind of hang on sometimes. Mm-hmm. And I think they're due for a game that it doesn't look like that, Sammy.
And we know how it goes when they go down early at Scotiabank Arena. We know how it feels there.
Like you're more likely to have that game on the road than at home, where at home everyone just goes,
uh-oh. Like they start feeling. So, the good starts have been good. So hopefully they can Go
Yeah,
ahead.
so
Yeah,
I was just
no,
going to
I'm
say
good.
that's. I think we have a shape for how we all expect it to go. Should we run through some of these clips
Sure.
now? And first one I want to hear is on the decor adjusting to Woll. Do they play any different?
Yes, kind of, because it's like, yeah, we'll play the clip. We can talk about it after.
Yeah, it's different obviously with each goalie. But I don't think it's a lot of adjustments that need to be made. I think with a goalie playing the puck, there's certain things that we're going to do a little differently with Woll in there instead of Stolarz.
Like
Because-
not let him play it?
Correct. Because we've seen throughout the playoffs here, fellas, the quick ups from Stolarz, and when he gets a chance to play the puck, he's really good at it. And when Woll goes out to play the puck, he gives me James Reimer vibes.
That bad?
I don't. And he likes to do it, and I hate when he does it. And I know a lot of Leaf fans probably feel the same way. I don't think he's good at playing the puck, and I think
one hiccup he had this year.
No, it's Kyper. It's not just that.
Oh no, but that's the one we remember.
I watched the Leafs every
What
single
game was
night.
that? Do you remember?
I know it happened towards the end of the year.
Yeah,
But I
but
don't remember.
I watch
I'm
him.
drawing a blank.
I watch him every single night. He just has moments where he tries to play it a little bit, and they're gonna have to play differently with that. So that was kind of what they're alluding to in that clip.
I am curious to get to some Paul Maurice stuff.
Okay, then let's not waste any time then.
Okay.
And figure out what the Leafs do with Sam Bennett tonight. Let's start there.
I'm in. Maurice on Bennett, clip 3.
Well, I'm not sure if the Leafs will be giving Bennett any extra treatment. Who? Sam Bennett? Sam Bennett? Have you been asked about him? Anyway, not sure if the Leafs will give him any extra attention, but the fans will probably be on him.
Are they bringing their skates?
You never know in Toronto. But like, this is not unfamiliar territory for him to be in the spotlight like this. What have you learned about how he responds, how he's comfortable, or what you noticed about him in this spot?
He's our leading scoring forward, and he'll play an honest, hard game the way he always does. I don't think he hasn't in the past, and there hasn't been, believe it or not, that many. Oh, don't be funny, Paul. There hasn't been that many situations. He'll be fine, and I appreciate the concern. I felt that
Wanted to check
concern.
in.
He's fine. I think he's going to be okay.
He made sure to throw the word in honest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's a really honest player. Yeah.
Sure, Kevin.
What is he's
I'll
our
show you,
leading scorer? What do you mean?
I don't
He's
know.
just not.
I'll show you a thread on Twitter if you want there, Paul.
Yeah.
Really honest thread.
I do believe that it's important that the Leafs do not kind of veer off the focus. And I have no doubt in my mind that I don't expect anything out of the Leafs outside of the ordinary on a Craig Berube team that continues to pound the message of nothing between the whistles.
Let me do what Berube's going to say to the team, which is, we're gonna stay hard on them. You get a chance to put a lick on them. We want to finish our checks hard, but we want to keep it between the whistles here, not play into his game.
Just do your job.
I mean, I just don't want our show to be the Bennett show. I don't want to
But
just
it's
have to.
the Panthers. It's the
I know,
Bennett
but I just, I went on with Gunnar and Ben today. All they wanted to talk about was Sam Bennett. I went on in Calgary with our buddy George Ross. Like, all they want to talk about is Sam Bennett. Sam Bennett. The Leafs are up in the series. They played their best game. And it's like, we talked about it for 25 minutes yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Bennett. How about the Leafs? Like, it's just, it drives me crazy. It drives me crazy.
Yeah.
And we're talking about Paul Maurice making his jokes up there, like, George Carlin out there. It's like, good Lord, man.
I'm
I'm sick of
downtown.
it.
I had strangers coming up to me and go, "What are we going to do about Sam Bennett?"
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, but it's
Walking down here, I had that chat with someone.
It's a major focus.
And Paul Maurice is in my kitchen, boys. He's living rent free, slamming my cupboards.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
so
We can see it.
sick of it already.
We can see
it's
it.
Game 2. I can't
A
stand
victim. A victim. He's not paying rent.
it. Anyways.
But we expect the similar look out of the Toronto Maple Leafs, and it's a little bit an extension of what I was talking about with Auston Matthews. If he's scoring or not scoring, if you're chasing Bennett, not chasing, they know how to play and win, enough this year, and what it looks like and how it feels. It would be very uncharacteristic of this team to start chasing around Sam
Yeah.
Bennett.
The one point you've made in the past is that, like, you kind of have to wait for situations to present themselves. You have to play free and take the game as it comes and try to dictate it at the time. You can't go out there with a plan.
No.
Like, oh, I'm going to get him in this corner, and when I do, you can't have a plan. You have to go play the game as it comes. Take some chances when they're available to you. But, yeah, I'm with you. I don't see it being a whole target
Craig
guy
Berube hockey.
sort of thing.
I much prefer the Bobrovsky shot to the Bennett shot. Like if you get your chance to, like you said yesterday, blow a shoe.
Yeah.
You get a chance to trip over your phantom
Sure.
stick. That's what
I'm
I'm.
going into the net that hard.
Yeah,
look at the like. I wouldn't want Bobby McMahon coming, Holmberg coming, Nyes coming, charging hard.
Panthers gave up 5 5-on-5 goals last game, which I don't think they had done maybe once or twice all season long. Yeah, part of the conversation we maybe haven't had is, getting to Bob, and I know he made some saves at the end, but they did get to him. That doesn't happen often, so we'll see if he's a little shaky.
Little bit of strength coming in from the back end on the blue line, where Ekblad returns after a 2-game playoff suspension, which gives them a different look. He'll go back on the number 1 pair with Forsling, and that'll push Seth Jones down to 3-4.
Yeah, I've heard Ekblad's at full strength.
Let's play George Carlin, aka Maurice, clip 5, please, on Ekblad's full season.
The layoff and everything.
Really, yeah. So you can look at it. First of all, the quality of his play this year was really high. We thought he was very good, and
Wonder why.
It had followed. I'm not going to say development, just the path over the last 3 years of him growing in the role. So his game was really good, and then you're out, but you're not injured. I mean, that just hardly ever happens. And then he's alone, he's isolated. He can't really talk to anybody. And if there's the positive, and we'll take it, he's really in good shape right now. He's as fit. That man's as fit as he has ever been in his life. And now we get him back. We'd like to keep him for more than a couple of games.
I can't do this for you.
So we'll take it now. We've survived it, I
believe
would
you
say,
said
without
that.
him, because we missed him. And he's a big part of what we do. And it was also that you're looking toward the end of the year to build that group as a feel.
He's fit.
He's fit as a fiddle. He's never been stronger.
Good. Go run a marathon.
He's never been in better shape in his life. What an incredible thing to say after your guy gets suspended for PEDs.
I'm gonna have to get an intern to cut the clips of this guy, man.
He's as fit. That man's as fit as he has ever been in his life.
I bet he is. I bet.
He has been at Popeyes sampling the goods.
Oh,
Anywho, lots of spinach.
but it's a big. It's a,
Two games in 2.5 months, right?
Yeah,
he should
he's-
feel.
Yeah, he's just doing
Pretty
pull-ups,
energetic.
waiting. He looks like 50 Cent in the Into Club video.
in that. That's funny. In that, what game was it? He scored. Was it? It was a game, the elimination game for them. The one where he elbowed.
Gave him 5.
He scored twice in that.
Yeah, one
where
disallowed.
One disallowed. Then he scored. Did he score the tying or the winner? He was everywhere.
Yeah,
in that
he
game.
was.
He's really
He's
good.
the winner.
And
That
that,
man's as fit as he has ever been in his
Jesus.
life.
haunting me.
We have another one on him. Is that also? or did we-
It just kind of talks about how they slot in better. That one's a better clip, so we're good.
All right.
So yeah,
Power play, 0 for 5.
Yeah. What'd you think of it? You think it was bad?
The issues I have is when they need to come 200 feet back in.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Sometimes it's Matthew. Sometimes it's Willie. I don't think Mitch does it too often, but
He does it
Seems-
the best of them when he does it.
seems to be an issue. Then let him do it then
Yeah.
more.
Yeah.
Or all of the time.
He doesn't do the backhand chip that makes me insane.
But it's still dangerous enough that I think Florida should really look at being a lot more disciplined tonight, and some of the penalties that they took, and that should back them off a little bit here.
he gave a good synopsis. Berube gave a good synopsis of what he saw in Game 1 from the power play. So let's listen to the coach. Clip.
How aggressive their PK is, and they do a real good job of it. But there was a lot of areas where we had opportunities off quick strikes and we just didn't execute them. And that's we got to execute better on those plays, in my opinion. Whether it was didn't get the shot off quick enough, or just missed the play a little bit, or just got tipped or whatever. But when you have an aggressive PK like that, obviously quick puck movement and shots to the net are important, getting them through. But for me, it's off these broken plays, and when they're pressing with 3, we got to make these quick strike plays, and we had opportunities and we didn't execute on them.
I like that when he says when they're pressing with 3. And sometimes when you bobble the puck, Florida will send 3, and that's when you need to be able to slip one into the bumper or slip one, find a spot. So,
And that's probably, when we look back at game 1, why we were all frustrated by them going to Morgan Riley. But they go to Morgan Riley on that power play late in the third period when they're up a goal. And that's probably that exact reason where they send the 3, they're worried about the 5-forward thing. Like that's the justification for it.
A little bit of a cringe factor was the too many men on the ice.
Yeah, what happened there?
I think the guys talked about it a little bit on Hockey Night in Canada, but you got 5 forwards, right?
Yeah.
And someone thought, 2 guys maybe thought they had the same guy. I mean, that's the only thing that I was able to pick up.
yeah. Yeah, it was ugly, and then they scored on that too. Killed the power play that was looking good, and then they scored. You always get scored on that one.
And
it just feels like
just seconds before that, like, what made it even worse, the too many men, is that you have the puck behind the net and you are in full control. So that to me made it even worse.
Yeah.
It's not like the other team's got the puck and they're shooting it towards your bench and it catches somebody and you're caught. This is you in full control.
not good.
Not good. But they did try to make a change at the 1 minute mark, which I thought showed good discipline and getting everybody involved and not overstaying on a whole 2 minute power play and freezing out the B team. And that was the good part. The too many men sucked.
There's a couple different ways to do changes on the power play, and one of it is to take by position in the O-zone setup, and the other is based on the position of the breakout. And I do wonder if those got crossed because they weren't set up. And anyway, not sure how that ended up happening in the first place.
All right, it came to my attention that our last show we didn't give Willie Nylander enough love.
Oh, really?
Yeah, few fans.
Willie was awesome. Willie was extremely good.
Willie is really good.
Go check out sportsnet.ca where I wrote an article, my 10 thoughts on the game. Willie is numero uno.
Yeah.
Scores some big goals for them. And I thought, by the way, that's one thing I was going to say about the changes. Interesting last game, they started the Matthews line. Matthews and Marner changed 21 seconds into that first shift.
Yeah.
And that got on the next line, who was then playing against a tired line. They shot one in the net. So
William Nylander is tied with Kyle Connor and Mikko Rantanen for second place in the NHL's playoff scoring, 1 point behind Connor McDavid right now. So he's been huge for them, and both coaches commented on Willie. Want to start with Berube. Clip 3, please.
Attacking and, shooting a puck. That's his game, right? And last couple games, he's been, when I see him with the speed, and attacking with the speed, he's dangerous. And obviously his shot is dangerous. We all know that. But it's the speed and the pace he's attacking with for me.
There you go.
Yeah, every time he has the puck, it's like, I'm sure Panther fans are kind of holding their breath.
yeah, the D back off an extra step.
And he had scored 2, and on the power play right before they went down and took the too many men, Nyes had a great screen. He was a centimeter from a natural hat trick in the first period. He is ripping the puck.
Matthew Nyes is a problem, guys.
Yes.
If he looks like he has looked and we know he can look, he is a handful for that Panthers team.
Let's listen to Paul Maurice on Willie as well, because he had a great clip today.
Well, his ability to control the puck and change angles, change directions is elite. There may not be anybody better at it than he is. So what he can do with the puck one-on-one is challenge one, but really it's players away from the puck then. It's not, now he can beat a guy one-on-one, take it to the net for sure, but it's the ice created by his movement that allows the other players to get open with good hands and they can get to the net. So we would view him in that, whatever the percentage is, the top 5 guys, the percentage of guys in the league, they all are something unique in their offensive game.
Yeah,
Different, but similar in effect with Kucherov, how he can get a puck off the wall to somebody open a whole bunch of different ways. That's the same idea. They're going to get there. He's going to generate. He just is. So you want to make sure you're not putting him in a position where you're feeding it.
Yeah, he can hit the seams as well as a lot of guys in the league. Kucherov's maybe at another
He's the
level
best
on
at
his
it.
Yeah,
on
he's
his own, but
Yeah.
Willie can show double threat.
Cooch had 144 points. Willie topped out at 98 or something like that's just another level of guy. But maybe at finishing, Willie right now you'd say is better at that element. This touch here on this one,
beautiful pass.
just really nice. One other thing on Nyes, I just want to, I mentioned before that clip that he has kind of found another gear in the first 36. So leading up to January 1st and then after, I've got some stats on that. But after January 1st, 49 games played, 44 points. So that's, way better than the 19 he had in the first half, almost a point per game player since January 1st. And his hits went from 2.0 to 2.5 per game. Hits went up, points went up, 22 goals after January 1st.
Yeah.
He's
we're watching
found
it happen.
a
He's-
new gear here.
He is as important as anyone in that lineup right now, just from his physical presence and his ability to drive the net. Like, McMahon should be looking at him right now and
He
going,
should. Oh, I
I gotta try to keep up to that level right now.
Absolutely. And the one thing with Nyes is he doesn't do it as consistently as the top guys who night in, night out are just, contributors, but
Still at 23,
still, no, he's 22.
22. He hasn't turned 23 yet.
No, not till the fall.
If you're watching on TV or YouTube, this backhand top. Oh my God, that's so nice.
I mean, it's very hard to do what he does there.
Yeah,
Extremely.
it's almost as one motion.
Yeah.
Right?
I was saying, I don't know if I said it on air, but I was on the ice yesterday trying to replicate that. And I think I almost broke my nose, toe picked. It's not easy.
Yeah, don't try that at home.
If the Florida Panthers had fans, who do you think they would be most afraid of if they're going up to Toronto Maple Leafs?
You're so mean to Florida fans.
Yeah. Sorry, the 15 people will get after me on their subreddit. But
How is it not Matthews and Marner still? I know Willie's scary, but
still Matthews Marner?
how is it not? At any moment, any touch, it can
Yeah, I think that's probably correct.
change.
Leafs got a lot of guys you should be afraid of. Before we get to Luke, just want to remind everybody, the golf fans out there, Sportsnet and Muskoka Bay Resort have come together with an amazing contest. Text the word Muskoka to 59590 for your chance to golf at one of Canada's top 10 ranked golf courses with a night in an incredible 3-bedroom villa for you and your 3 friends. Just text Muskoka to 59590 for your chance to win. Visit sportsnet.ca/590 contest for more details. Standard message and data rates apply. There you go. Muskoka Bay Resort.
Looks beautiful.
And boys, I got to tell you,
Granite.
short sleeves for Kyper today. You got the long sleeves. I went short sleeves.
But she's thin here.
It is.
What a
summer.
day today.
It is spectacular outside today in Toronto, city of Toronto. It's like it's playoff season. It's starting to get warm. They're supposed to be playing one of this morning. I wonder how the ice will be down at Scotiabank tonight. Little bumpy.
Full playoff
Yeah. But
mode.
Samoskevich draws in tonight.
Mackie Samoskevich draws in for
Good player.
AJ
He
Greer.
can shoot.
Good player.
He can shoot it in the net too.
Yeah. He's effective for them.
We maybe get into it in game time international hour, but I think you could do worse than betting on a Samoskevich goal coming into the lineup tonight.
boy.
He rips it and he flies around.
Oh, boy.
So
Okay, let's take a quick break. When we return, we'll get a feel from the rink with our very own Luke Fox from Sportsnet.ca. That and more when we return to Real Kyper and Bourne. Welcome back to the program. Nick Kypreos, Justin Bourne, Sammy McKee getting ready for game 2. We got Luke Fox. Luke. How are you, buddy?
Guys?
Bumped
How are
into
ya?
Luke this morning,
Yeah.
right outside of Real Sports.
What are the
Bar and
odds of
Grill.
that?
Real good. He looked super excited, picking up that vibe. Luke, how was the feel this morning going into game 2? I'm not going to say that our boy Sammy here doesn't have a good feel for game 2, but there is that guarded side of him. How do you feel like the Leafs are looking towards getting a huge, hand up here with another big win tonight?
Yeah, it would be massive. I mean, it would officially make this the longest run of the Matthews, Marner, Nylander era, right? Like they've never reached 6 wins, and it's right there for them. Snatching a lead. You'd have to go back to the 90s before the Leafs had a 2-0 series lead in any round past the first round. So this would be huge. I mean, if you're Florida, You came here to get a split. That's still on the table. If the Leafs, you got to be wary that you're not going to see the same Florida Panthers team that came out in the first period of game one. They were putrid. They weren't ready to play. The Leafs took it to them. I thought it was probably, outside of the too many men penalty, probably the 20 best minutes of Maple Leafs hockey that they've put together this season. I thought they were fantastic, just taking a stranglehold of that game, putting the Panthers on their heels. They had to fight back the whole game. So if you can get a start like that again, and you're the Maple Leafs, then you're thrilled. I think there's been a lot of talk behind the scenes on a couple things. One is Joseph Woll. They spent some extra time at practice working on the breakouts with the defenseman. Anthony Stolarz is a really vocal goalie. There seemed to be an encouragement for more talk between Joseph Woll and the defenseman. We know how important breakouts are against the Panthers forecheck because they're so fast and fierce. That's their game plan. And the other thing is the power play. It went under the radar a little bit because the Leafs won, but they went 0 for 5 on the power play. Right. It was so key in the Ottawa series. It needs to be critical again. They need to get a power play goal, I think, tonight.
So backing up tonight for Joseph Woll, which is a story unto itself that Woll's in the net, but Matt Murray is the backup. I don't think he played a ton in the American League this year. Hildeby, Akhtyamov, these guys played a little bit more. What are we to make of Murray being chosen, and what?
You're worried.
I'm a little. Listen, if Woll gives up a couple early, do they have the option of going to someone else?
Yeah, the e-bug.
Yeah, that's him.
Well, it was kind of alarming, to say the least, when you saw Dennis Hildeby slide onto the Leafs bench in the third period. It was like a little alarm bell. Okay, we're one dirty play or one bad performance from getting into your third, fourth stringers here. The decision to go with Murray is an easy one, I think, for Craig Berube. It's simple. Experience. The guy has cup rings. There's a calmness. He's played in the playoffs before. And even just noticing after morning skate this morning, Murray's like hanging around, chatting with a few reporters, chatting with Woll a little bit. Hildeby, he's a prospect still. So when you see him behind the scenes, he's very quiet. He's reserved. He's like, I don't want to step out of line here. Murray, there's more of a comfortability around the teammates, between the coach, and I think the coach trusts the guy with experience. I think it's as simple as that.
You're watching and listening to Luke Fox, Leaf and NHL writer with Sportsnet.ca. So, look, we know what the Bennett talk in this series was like 24 hours later. Going into today, subsided, the Leafs ready to put it behind them in terms of at least not letting it drag in. Obviously, it's not forgotten, and it won't be forgotten, but where is their mindset when it comes to Bennett going into game two?
Yeah, I think it's past them. I mean, if they have a chance to run them and it's between the whistles, for sure they're going to try and take a bound of flash. I mean, we saw that with Ridley Greig in the last run. When there was a chance to nail that guy, you want to exact some revenge. But I've really been impressed by how the players have taken their cues from Craig Berube here. He's been very much, let's move past it. Let's focus on the win. Scott Lawton put it best. He said the best revenge is to win the game. Florida falls down 2 games heading home. Suddenly all the pressure's on them. They came in as the favorites. They're the champs. And it's like, we couldn't even steal one. We're a good road team and we couldn't even get one on the road. So, it seems like the players have bought into what Berube is selling. And that is, what he did was dirty. It was nasty. Anthony Stolarz may be done for the entire series. It's that serious. But we have to turn the page. We trust our other goalie. Let's hit them when we can. But let's not get dragged into the muck here. Let's win the game.
Luke, over the past 3 seasons, Sergei Bobrovsky has played 57 postseason games, which is a lot of extra hockey. His numbers were good a couple years ago in the playoffs. Last year, they were really good in the regular season, 915. Then okay in the playoffs. This year, just a 906 in the regular season and an 886. Getting tired? Is there any chance we get a less than perfect Bobrovsky?
Sure. There's a chance. I mean, I can't see him being as leaky as he was in game one. It's rare for this guy to give up 5, Justin. He's probably headed to the Hall of Fame. It was interesting. So after the game, you do your interviews, you write your story. And I was walking down from doing a post-game hit. All the Panthers had cleared out, and there was Bobrovsky still at the rink, smiling, laughing with the trainers. He seemed very calm for a guy after a loss. I think he has great perspective. Maybe he was just going to walk back to the hotel because the bus had left, and he's just kind of on his own program. I think he's very good at bouncing back after a loss. The Leafs have to get to him, but I think it's a great sign for Toronto that they hung some numbers on him. I mean, you think about the 23 series, they could never get past 2 goals on this guy. That was the big thing. So for them to start feeling some confidence, hey, this guy's fallible, I think that's huge.
Think Matthews is feeling anything other than just snake bitten right now?
Yeah, it's got to be something, right, Nick? Like, the guy can't hit the net. It's really something. He's generated his chances. He's doing all the right things defensively. He's been a beast in the faceoff dot. The effort's there, but the shot just doesn't have it. And even some casual fans, I was playing beer league on the weekend, they're like, "What's with Matthews' shot?" And you don't see that quick angle change, that pull and release that's just beating goalies clean anymore. He's missing, and maybe part of it's in his head. Maybe it's the mysterious upper body injury is still nagging at him. We know he had to miss a practice last week. So I bet there's a physical element to this, but he's not going to tell you what's going on.
Were you ripping it at beer league? Is that why your buddies were reminded of Matthews losing the zip watching your shot?
No, I'm Matthew Nyes without the hands. I just go in the crease and hopefully get a screen.
Bank one in off your leg or something like that. Hey, that's all you got to do sometimes. So a real strength of this Leafs team has been the defense shutting down the opposition in terms of not allowing a lot in front of the net, just good sticks all the way through. But it's been a real bright spot. They're creating some offense a little bit here. I know the Tanev one may be separate from that. Is this a sustainable thing? What are we missing? Why have they suddenly found offense from their defense here?
Well, I see them jumping up more. I've never seen Morgan, I think it's a snowball effect. I think they've been asked to. I know halfway through the season, Craig Berube was looking at the numbers and seeing that they weren't generating much from those guys. I think maybe he tried to beat out some of the old habits out of them early and say, hey, we're playing a defense team. We're not going to sacrifice offense if it means giving up, or we're not going to go for offense if it means sacrificing defense. So I think they pulled back a little bit in the first half of the season. And then I think he was encouraging them to jump up a little bit more. And now that Morgan Rielly in particular has a couple goals, he's feeling more free to jump up in the rush. I thought he had some great chances in game one. Simon Benoit in the previous series, Ekman Larson. So we're seeing these guys spot the holes where they can jump up, and they're doing it. And it's paying off. And the more it pays off, probably the more confident they feel about taking those chances when they're available.
Luke, enjoy game 2, my friend, and we'll catch up soon.
All right. Should be a blast. Enjoy it, guys.
Thanks, Luke. Appreciate it.
Sportsnet.ca's Luke Fox. So,
I was at beer league last night too. Hot.
I heard an OT win for the Zags.
Hot. It's awesome this time of year. Everybody's so excited to talk about it.
how's the zip on your shot?
Horrible. I've never scored a goal outside of 3 feet from the crease.
Muffin,
Kicked one in last night. And they
Did they review it?
Nope, didn't go upstairs. But the other guys in the other team were like, "Oh, hey, are you on that podcast? You're on that podcast?" I was like, "You say, yeah, you were really chirping me." Eh? I was like, "Yeah, I mean, I don't pay league fees to not say anything to you."
That's great.
So, Sammy, you wrote that the Panthers are 0-5 all time in best of sevens when falling behind 2-0 in a series.
I wrote that. I mean, I typed it. And
You didn't make the fact up.
NHL Public Relations has a great website, and they put up a bunch of stats and stuff. So that's where I get my stuff from. And yes, they put that up.
A win tonight
I mean,
takes you to the Leafs winning this series?
I mean, at that point, yeah. I mean, how could you think anything but? They haven't 4 or 5 games.
Pretty good stat.
Yeah.
I mean, it is, but at the same time, you guys hate those kind of stats.
Yeah,
Where it's
no, I
like-
don't care about lifetime stats. It means nothing to me.
Especially it's against the Leafs. Like,
No, but I care about two teams that go up 2-0 win a lot of the series.
they're in a great
To
position
me,
with a win tonight.
It really, if by chance they don't and it's 1-1, as long as it presents itself like a good hockey game for them, it's to me it's all about how you win or lose, right? Instead of just losing. At 1-1, I think if they play a good game, give themselves a chance here, even if they lose in overtime, there's a lot for the Leafs to take to South Beach, even at 1-1. But 2-0, I think convinces a lot of people that they will win this series.
I think it's going to come down to a number of guys. Can Pacioretty be as effective as last game? Can he be as physical and stay on that sort of thing? The first line, going to shoot one in the net. Can the Domi line be better? They struggled a little bit with that third line. Those are a couple of the key matchups. And
The Lawton line cannot be -3.
right. Lawton, Lorentz, Yarncroc needs a better effort, or you will see David Kampf come game 3.
You think?
Yeah, man, you got it. It's like Joseph Woll. It's like, this guy's a good player. Like, you're looking for a reason to get him in. Problem is you keep winning,
Yeah.
which,
Do you just try like a different version of the bottom six with the same guys that you have as opposed to changing things up?
like, it's probably Yarncroc.
Yeah.
They traded for Lawton and don't want to take him out. Lorentz is very effective and can score. He's like it's possible.
Young Crook would be, I think, the easiest
Definitely.
decision to make. Outside of that, you like Holmberg's size and his ability to protect a puck down low, make plays, take a big hit, and get right back
Domi
up.
can also just do something. Every few games he does something. You're like, well, no one else in the Leafs.
He
would
plays
do that.
fast, too.
Yeah.
Max plays fast. Great example of bearing Matthew Tkachuk and then skating down and
Yeah, like not many guys in the Leafs
forcing
can make that play.
Bob to make a big save. Matthew Tkachuk, to me, like very quiet in game 1.
No shots.
And the only thing we really saw out of him was going after Marner at the end of the game, which that was a little bush.
I mentioned I spoke to our boy George in Calgary today. Love that show. Love those guys, Matt and George. And he asked me who I dislike more, Brady or Matthew. And it's just, there's no comparison between the two for me. I think Matthew is way more hateable than Brady is.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I think Brady plays a much more direct, honorable game than Matt does.
I was going
Matt's
to say, I
way
fear
greasier.
Brady more.
For sure.
But
Way greasier, Matthew.
Brady is like 10 times tougher
100%
than Matthew.
bigger.
And
Well, plays
that
tougher.
carries a level of respect, too.
I respect his game way more. No comparison.
And, Matthews plays a mean game, and he's willing to sink low at any cost to try to win. But this guy is nowhere near as tough as his brother.
No. His PIMs per game have come down. His points per game have come down. He's 57 points in 52 games this year, which is good numbers, but like he's a really, really good hockey player.
He is, and he can hurt you offensively. He can make plays. He could
Great around the net.
power play.
But
He's dangerous.
but you don't fear him the way you fear.
Well, we'll see if
Some
that
other
offense wakes up. Kachuk, Barkov, Reinhart, Verhaeghe,
Score tonight.
very quiet.
4-1 Panthers.
I'm going 4-3 Leafs in overtime.
Oh my God, that's exactly what I was going to say. Exactly.
God.
4-3
Okay,
Leafs.
stick
There you
with
go.
me, kid.
I will. There you go.
Stick with me, kid. All right. Get ready. Game 2 tonight. Don't move wherever you are. Just hang out on Sportsnet. We'll take a quick break. When we return, we go national. Oilers. Lots of talk about the Edmonton Oilers. We'll get into it with Jack Michaels, play-by-play man, and Sean Reynolds is the Winnipeg Jets. Get her going. Welcome back into the studio. The Real Kyper and Bourne Show. It's our national hour. We are live on Sportsnet 650 in Vancouver, Sportsnet 960 in Calgary, right across your Sportsnet platforms. This hour, Real Kyper and Bourne, brought to you by Bet365. Nick Kypreos, Justin Bourne, Sammy McKee, as we get ready for another big night in the National Hockey League. Toronto Maple Leafs and the Florida Panthers kick off everything at 7 p.m. Eastern, followed by the Dallas Stars and the Winnipeg Jets, 9:30 Eastern. And for those of you that it's just too much excitement for one night and you need something to calm yourself down, there's the Blue Jays and the Angels at 9:38.
Yeah, it's on Sportsnet 1.
Imagine
Sportsnet
making
1.
that choice.
I mean, after Leafs talk, I'll flick back and forth.
Yeah,
with the
no,
hockey
listen,
game.
I'll check in.
I'm a big time.
But
I flick.
that'll
Yeah.
bring your pulse right down.
Well, not me.
Unless it's the bullpen.
I get a little sour when I watch Jays. I got to be honest with you.
They got another gear yet. They'll be okay.
Oh, yeah.
They'll be okay.
Yeah,
In the
they're
meantime-
shifting down.
A storyline that keeps growing is the Edmonton Oilers and what they did in Game 1 versus Vegas. In a couple of minutes, we'll welcome in Jack Michaels, play-by-play man for the Edmonton Oilers. Does a terrific job with our big Luke.
Do you know that Jack was the play-by-play guy for my ECHL team?
I did not know
That I
that.
know Jack. So I played for the Alaska Aces.
Yeah.
Well, after I played university hockey, I played for the Aces for like just home games, basically. They were like, just play the home games. I was like, all right.
That's awesome.
And so I got to know Jack, who was doing ECHL games at the time. And I remember turning on the National Hockey League television and hearing Jack's voice and being like, oh,
I know him.
I know that guy.
That's funny.
Before we ask Jack about the Oilers, I'll get your thoughts real quick here and what you watched last night and how this Edmonton Oilers team may feel different to you now
Mhm.
than the one that went to the Stanley Cup final.
Yeah, I can't make sense of this Oilers team, Kip, because they've come back in 5 straight games. But it's not just McDavid and Draisaitl.
Well, that's the different part.
But they had good depth last year, and I thought
I know.
they messed up this season enough that
But-
they were supposed to not have depth. And Ekholm's hurt, so they're not supposed to do this.
But it almost seems like this time last year we were still talking way more about maybe Draisaitl
Mhm.
filling the net and getting wowed by McDavid. And it's not that hasn't happened.
no, nice
but
bat out of the air by Dry
we
last
are
night.
talking.
Great setup by McDavid on the Corey Perry first goal.
Yeah.
We are talking a lot more about Connor Brown after
know.
last night.
Brownie. St. George's guy, by the way, Brownie.
What
good,
a
good
move.
golfer.
What a move he made. But at the same time, where was Shea Theodore going?
Yeah.
That one?
That was
Well,
strange.
Great goal, though.
I also felt the same about Corey Perry's goal. Really nice touch, but like Aiden Hill's in the corner on that one.
Yeah.
Aiden Hill, not great. First off, full credit to the Oilers. Before I crap on Aiden Hill, full credit to the Oilers who outplayed the Vegas Golden Knights and deserved
Yes.
that win. But that Hyman goal is just a wrist or high glove.
Yep. It did kiss the post.
I mean,
Good
it's
shot.
a good shot.
Yeah. You could catch it. But no,
You're allowed to catch it. But anyway, I thought the Oilers, they brought it and they got help from their depth. And
Yeah.
they look like they're going to the final.
Klingberg's
And it
playing
just-
well.
Well, Klingberg has come in and given them really quality minutes, which
Why didn't the Leafs get a guy like that?
They don't need
Oh, right.
They tried, didn't they? Kid? Leafs tried to sign him.
I
When-
don't.
Again?
Yeah, like when he went right
Yeah.
back into the. I think the Leafs were at his skate when he did his
I've-
showcase.
I think what it came down to is, and I don't know. You can look up this real quick, but I think he's at 1.8 million on at the time when he signed a prorated. But I'm not sure how many teams were willing to do that, including if the Leafs were thinking about bringing him back.
Right.
That to me was Edmonton saying, we need that guy more than anybody, and we're willing to
1.175.
1.175. Okay, so
you're
not
close.
quite, but I don't know if anybody would have offered him much more than the minimum wage.
Yeah. I mean, they're missing a couple of guys on Vegas last night, right? They no Petrangelo and missing.
Was there any follow up to his illness at all?
Not that I heard. I didn't come across any.
So how long are the Oilers going to have to play to get Ekholm back, Kip? Have you heard anything?
Next round.
Next round?
Next round. I mean, I don't know for sure
Yeah.
that he would be back, but I
Did
know
they
he's
rule
not
him
supposed
out?
to be back this
Did
round.
they rule him out?
The
in
Oilers
second
people
series?
I asked today said yes, he was ruled out.
Knobloch, I think, before the series said that he wouldn't play in this series, I think.
Nurse, Bouchard,
Listen,
Wallman,
if
Klingberg,
they get him
Kulak,
back,
Emberson.
if they can get past Vegas and get him back, that to me,
But it's all kind of gone this way. like Janmark looks good. Arvidsson suddenly found it a little bit. Like Frederick and Kane are back. Like it's all falling into place. It's all coming up oil.
And Pickard hasn't made it an issue.
I watched before I went to bed last night and then taped it. Yeah, all right. We got our guess.
All right. The man that is watching it live and calling it as well as anyone right now in the National Hockey League, Jack Michaels, joins us. How are you, pal?
Well, there's only 2 other guys calling this series, so I don't know whether that's faint praise, Kip.
I had everybody across the league on that one. So hold on. Is it true you called my good buddy Justin Bourne's games in Alaska? Is that true?
100% I did.
Okay.
100% I did.
So hold on. Now, just close your eyes and give me a scenario where Justin Bourne picks up the puck in his own zone and then take it from there.
Well, number one, I can't take it from there because he was never in his own zone. Never in his own zone.
Well done.
I mean, sorry, Borny, but he teed me up for that one.
Is there a call? Is there a call in you where it bounces off his ass and in the net?
Oh no. What the call would have been, stretch pass to Bourne, breaks in, shoots, and scores. Every pass to Bourne was definitely a stretch.
And we had Davis Payne there, who's done a great job now with Winnipeg and was a really good coach and learned a lot there. So good to see you again, Jack. It's been a long time, man. I did want to say congrats on watching your ascent and your growth here with Oilers Nation. Tell us about your experience there in Edmonton and how the Alberta has welcomed you.
Well, it's been a blast. 15 years has gone by, and it's been just magnificent. Coming to a place where I'd never set foot in the province of Alberta. As you may remember from the minor pro days, Kyper, I know this was beneath your level, but to be honest with you, when you're in minor pro, you get border towns. I'd been to Toronto, I'd been to Victoria, but I had never really been into Canada. And, I can now say that I've been into Canada. You're in Edmonton, you're in it. And it's been a great place to raise my family. It's obviously a phenomenal, passionate market. My first 5 or 6 years here, the Oilers weren't in sniffing distance of the playoffs by Halloween some years. Mm-hmm. And yet people kept packing. At that time, Rexall plays 16,839 strong. And obviously you see, around the world now, the kind of fervor that builds up at this time of year as Edmonton has become an annual contender. And, right now you bring me into this mix, and I have to say, it shouldn't be that much of a surprise considering Edmonton did not have the team they're dressing all year long. When Evander Kane and Trent Frederick were finally ready to play, that's the first time Edmonton had dressed the full lineup the entire year. And what we're seeing right now is in 2 of the last 3 games, Edmonton's very best. And Edmonton's very best, I've said this for the last couple of years. The Oilers may not be the best team in the NHL over the last 3 or 4 years, but they're the most difficult team to eliminate. I don't know whether that makes a great deal of sense, but you can make an argument that Edmonton might not be the best, but I would suggest they're the hardest out.
You're watching and listening to Jack Michaels play-by-play with the Edmonton Oilers on Sportsnet. So prior to working with our Louis DeBrusk, did you know him? Did you meet him before? Did you see him for the first time and say, that guy could take one bite of me and I'd be gone?
Well, Kyper, for whatever reason, Louis and I hit it off from my first year in radio. He was doing the TV with our mutual colleague, Kevin Quinn, who I know is a dear friend of yours and remains a dear friend of mine to this day. But Louis and I, for whatever reason, Quinner, liked to get his frozen coffee, and then he'd disappear into his dark hotel room, and you wouldn't see him until game time. Louis and I, as you can probably imagine by me, and we all know about the big man, we haven't met a meal that we've disagreed with over the last 15 years. So Louis and I became fast friends really early, and so when 5 years ago they asked me to move over to the TV side, it was a pretty natural transition, and I'm sure, and I know you guys have the same kind of fortune. It is so nice when you get to work with some of the best people,
Yeah.
like your friends. And if that can work, I think that's the best way to get through life. And, it's been a real privilege to kind of hang around.
Got my
with a big
fingers
man.
crossed
And I
out
am the
that'll happen
safest
for me.
broadcaster in the league.
One day, pal.
One day soon, that'll happen to me.
Yeah. But you're right, Kipper. I'm the safest broadcaster in the league. I can stir it up, and I never have to worry about it.
That's awesome. So, all this good fortune you're talking about, you also walk into the primes of McDavid and Draisaitl. And you talk about a team that is tough to eliminate. Is it as simple as, like, how do you kill these guys? They just, they don't go away. Draisaitl knocks that one out of the air last night. McDavid sets up plays. It just seems impossible to keep those guys down.
Well, and I think the thing about Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid is they are at the best when the games are the hardest. I mean, they're averaging, 1.65 points per game at the toughest time of year when you're playing the toughest opposition. And as you rightfully point out, those are the first two guys that every team is focused on for years now. There's no secrets. There's no sneaking up on anyone anymore. But what has made Edmonton difficult to deal with in the last week or so is that it's not just McDavid and Draisaitl. They closed out that LA series with McDavid and Draisaitl getting a couple of points on an empty netter, and that was it. It's their depth. And that has traditionally been where Vegas has had Edmonton's number, is deeper down the lineup. And Vegas has always had that great fourth line, no matter who's been the coach or what the personnel has been. But now Edmonton has that real functional play up and down the lineup. 11 of their 12 forwards scored in the Los Angeles series. Now, that's a fantastic hand-eye play from Leon Draisaitl, but here's the game winner. Evander Kane to Zach Hyman. Hyman and Nugent-Hopkins did not have phenomenal regular seasons, but they've been there in the playoffs. Adam Henrique is really starting to play. Connor Brown, I mean, he's on a roll. He's finally back, and you guys could probably tell me more than I can really comment on this, but he had major knee surgery. Sometimes you are not the same guy for a very long time. I think Connor Brown's got his speed back. He's got his mojo back. He's got his confidence. They're starting to get real productive minutes out of Victor Arvidsson and Vasily Podkolzin. Again, you're talking about your 11th and 12th forwards. These are guys that are giving the other team, the opponent, fits. And I think for the first time since I've been in Edmonton, they now have a guy, and Kyper can certainly speak to this. They have a guy that you absolutely despise if you're on the other team on every line. Corey Perry, Evander Kane, Trent Frederick, Vasily Podkolzin. No one around the league likes those guys. And that's a good thing come playoff time because you're constantly dealing with them, buzzing the tower, getting inside, bothering your goaltender. You're shoving them out of the crease at every whistle. That's draining.
And that's why, Jack, we're seeing and noticing Connor Brown, Henrique Moore, and those names that you mentioned. But the two that you mentioned, they didn't have all season long in Evander Kane and Frederick, who, like, you got to give the Edmonton Oilers credit here, at least now, because that was a heck of a gamble, paying the price that they paid for a guy that was hurt all season long, and you waited, and Kane wasn't there either. Those guys come into the lineup now, and it just reslots everybody, and now boats are rising in the tide.
Yeah, and you become a difficult playoff team to contend with, Kyper, and that's always been the knock on Edmonton is, they didn't have a ton of legs where if you chopped off one, there wasn't, enough to support. Now, if a guy like Corey Perry is having an off night, you still have Kane and Frederick. You still have these guys, these heavy, relentless players that get in on the forecheck, that make life difficult for your defenseman. All of a sudden, Edmonton goes from the kind of finesse and explosiveness that, Justin, you rightfully point out is still there. But now they become, in a game like last night in Vegas, where it's 2-1 for the majority of the hockey game, they become a team that all of a sudden wears you out. Vegas had one shot in the second period, and even though they got out of the period even and still with a 2-1 lead, they didn't have any gas for the third. Same thing happened in the pivotal Game 5 in Los Angeles. The Oilers outshot the Kings 19-4, totally dominated the first, and the Kings got out of that period even, and then even got a power play goal to go up in that game. But then they had no juice for the next 35 minutes. That's what Edmonton is doing. They are killing the body and allowing the head to fall.
So this Vegas Golden Knights team, I don't really know what to make of them. And frankly, I thought I did until I watched them play Edmonton last night, and the Oilers just took it to them. What do you make of the ceiling for the Vegas Golden Knights? Is this a team that has another gear from what you saw in Game 1?
First of all, they better, but they do. I mean, this series is not over. I don't think, if you're an Edmontonian, you start thinking a 4 or 5 game series. This is still a team that knows how to win. This is still a team that's got 12 playoff series wins in their first, 7 years of existence. They're still, they're going to be a force. There's going to be some pushback in Game 2. I think Vegas is a long way from being put to rest. And the one thing we've seen, in these Stanley Cup playoffs is even when you think a result, it can flip in an instant. So I think the biggest thing for Vegas is minus, Pietrangelo and Dorofeev, who did not skate today and certainly would be question marks for tomorrow, although Pietrangelo's was termed an illness. So my hunch is he'll find a way to come back and play Game 2. But they've still got balance. They've still got depth. They've still got a very tough blue line to deal with. I mean, you've got Hannafin, Pietrangelo, and Shea Theodore on different pairings right now. I mean, they're awfully deep on the back end. You'd have to think Aiden Hill would have a bounce-back performance. He's the one with a Stanley Cup ring on their finger. So, yeah, I think Vegas is a long way from being dead in the water. And I also think they have a veteran coaching staff that, has been to finals, has been to head coaches. It's not just Bruce Cassidy, but they'll make some adjustments. And this is going to be a long series. I would be very surprised if this series is shorter than 6 games.
And they still got Mark Stone, who I think is the face and the guy that probably is the go-to guy. We've built up Jack Eichel, and no question he's come a long way here. But this team between Pietrangelo and Mark Stone, you'll never write off.
Well, Stone, last night, I know he scored the 2 Vegas goals, but he made I started running out of hands how many great defensive plays he makes. And you always hear that, like, he's the one winger that could theoretically be in the hunt for a Selke one day. I got to be honest with you. He played a fantastic game last night, but he didn't have much help. And that's the bottom line is the Golden Knights got the early power play. They got a 4-minute power play early. As you see here, it goes off Stone, and then he made a beautiful move on the even strength goal to make it 2-0. I mean, this was just a gorgeous move, waiting, and then burying it through Calvin Pickard, and made a number of fine defensive plays. But they had 4 shots at even strength for the final 40 minutes.
Wow.
And for the entire game, they had 4 scoring chances. I mean, it's just not nearly enough. And Bruce Cassidy, I thought, made a good point. He goes, we didn't have many scoring chances, and when we did, we didn't even hit the net. So he expects a much better Game 2. I expect a much better Game 2. In fact, even if Edmonton goes ahead and takes Game 2, I don't think we're shaking hands after 4 games.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is a series. This is a rivalry. These are the 2 class teams of the West the last couple years. I think it'd be foolish to expect anything less than a 6-game series. But again, every expectation I've had in this Stanley Cup playoffs has been wrong. So I'm like Costanza. Do the opposite of what I'm saying.
Tuna on toast. So
Yes.
I walked in and I said to McKee today, is Chris Knoblauch Scotty Bowman maybe? Because I'm looking at the Oilers decor and, Wallman and Bouchard and Klingberg, and they have some guys who aren't exactly defensive stalwarts, and they give up 4 scoring chances in the game. So tell me a little bit about Knoblauch. We've had him and his demeanor on the show, which is very calm and measured, and he doesn't waver a whole lot. Is that consistent? Is that what's helping the Oilers find their way through?
100%. I mean, remember, he came in the tempest of a 2-9-1 start with, and Kyper, he knows the Edmonton market. I mean, it was meltdown city. It was, when he came in, it was as bad as I've ever seen it. And, he just said to the guys at that time, hey, let's just go out and play. Like, here's the combinations. Let's go play. And that really is a demeanor that served him well as he's ascended through the course of his own coaching career. Not many people know this guy. He's certainly not one that's going to attract a ton of attention. But I think his calm in the eye of the storm, and there's plenty of storms on this club. I mean, you've got two of the world's best players. You've got some healthy egos and veterans. When you're an older team, and Kyper's played on some of these teams, there's a lot of egos in the dressing room because you're all talking about, an older team is a euphemism for saying it's an experienced team and a well-established team. And that means every guy is well-established. So there's a lot of egos and ice time considerations that you're dealing with when you're dealing with an older team. And I think Chris has done a great job of managing that situation. And his demeanor suggests if I, as a player, am prone to some sort of, explosion or whatever, it's not going to roll with this team. It's a veteran group who appreciates a coach that ultimately knows what he's got in his players, is not out talking about what a genius he is or anything of that nature. So I think he's been a real, steadying sort of port in the eye of the storm, and it fits well with a veteran group.
But, Jack, he can't play one shift on the blue line. So give me one name. Give me one name that has gone beyond the call of duty here to make up for the loss of Ekholm.
I think Brett Kulak is one of the quiet heroes on this team. His ice time is elevated up into the 24-minute range. Again, not the sexiest of players, but he can move the puck. He can defend. He's the Oilers' best penalty killer with no Ekholm. And he is much like the Knobloch of the defense in the sense that he steadies everyone else. I mean, Darnell Nurse has unbelievable ability, sometimes gets caught running around, but certainly, can do a lot of things on the back end. Klingberg, an offensive guy that's been far better than I could have anticipated, especially even with the look we saw in March. He told me his hips actually felt better when he came back, even though he had been fully rehabbed. So he's feeling confident physically. And Jake Wallman, is a guy that certainly has the big shot, as Evan Bouchard does, but similar to Bouchard, can get caught occasionally. Kulak is just smooth as silk. And I think everyone enjoys playing with him. When a guy's struggling, he's a guy you can pair him with. And he's basically done what he's done throughout his career. I think he was a 4th-round pick, and this guy has quietly played in every single game that the Oilers have played since he arrived in town. The other thing that's underrated about Kulak is he's there. He's knock on wood from his standpoint, he's never hurt. He's always there, and he gives you quality minutes. So I think when you're missing the 22 minutes from Ekholm and you see Kulak's minutes rise and no significant drop-off, that's a credit to him.
The Oilers in Vegas slated for Game 2 Thursday night. Looking forward to your call, Jack, and say hi to our good friend Louie for us, okay?
Will do for sure. And you know what? I've got to give JB credit. He scored a couple of key goals in Alaska's run to a conference final. He didn't get us over the hump, but he did score a couple of key goals.
Good to see you, Jack, man. Appreciate your time today.
Telling it like it is. Jack Michaels.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
All
Thanks
right.
a lot.
Great stuff.
Did score a couple of key playoff goals.
He scored a triple overtime winner.
I did.
Triple overtime.
Yeah. I did
What
Ninja
happened?
Turtle spin on my back
Yeah.
after. Actually, I was
Give
so
us a
tired.
description.
I was so tired, I fell behind the play, and I was the last man up the ice when they turned it over. So I just got up, got to the blue line, got a breakaway.
A breakaway.
Yeah.
Backhand, forehand.
Like Matthew
Deep
Nye.
1,000 times.
Deep 1,000
Yeah,
times.
Backhand on the ice, and
Five hole.
Spun it out. Nope. No, just put him in the corner. No, something.
Wow.
Yeah.
Something.
Little sick hands on the kid,
an
eh?
ECHL goalie, keep in
Oh.
mind. This is not exactly.
Buddy, a goal's a goal.
It
I
felt
don't
pretty darn
care.
good, I can
I
tell you
don't
that.
care.
Overtime winner.
Yeah.
Cud scored an overtime winner in D Division AHL last night. And the boys
Shout
are
out
fired
Cud.
up.
Way to
So
go,
there you
pal.
Yeah. Game time?
Game time, baby.
It's game time presented by Bet365. Visit the app for latest odds and find out why it's ever ordinary at Bet365. Must be 19 plus. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. So if you are looking to bet on the Toronto Maple Leafs tonight, it would be a good night to do so. They are heavy underdogs. Plus 125 on home ice against the Florida Panthers. The Florida Panthers tonight, minus 150. So Bet365 has a very similar feeling to us, Borny, in terms of what's going to happen in this game tonight. Going to get the best effort from the Panthers, as they would imagine, but that's a pretty tantalizing number for a team that's been playing pretty well.
They got Ekblad back, and that factors
Yes,
into the numbers.
no question.
Is
Yep.
score.
And then the other game tonight on the ice, and we're going to talk to Sean Reynolds about it coming up after the break, is the Winnipeg Jets opening up their series. I'm wondering, you got to ask them about that start time and what the locals are saying about that. Can you imagine what they'd be saying here if they're starting at 8:50 p.m.?
Winnipeg has got the raw end both series.
I was crying about 8 p.m.
Yeah.
It's an hour later. Anyways,
one more. Go prime time.
So Winnipeg is plus 100 tonight. Dallas is favorite, minus 120. And what was the thing I was going to look up? Oh, yeah. A Samoskevich goal.
By the way, Samoskevich had 15 tucks in 72 games this year, 31 points. So, not a whole lot of fourth liners scoring 15 goals for you.
I'm trying to pull this up quickly here. Maybe they don't have it up because he's not confirmed into the lineup. Yeah. So they do not have it up at this very moment, unfortunately. Sorry, guys.
Thumbs up. Bet Mackey.
Yeah, but I think Mackey's going to find a way to score one tonight. Anyways, that was Game Time presented by Bet365. Visit the app for latest odds and find out why it's ever ordinary at Bet365. Must be 19 plus, Ontario only. Please play responsibly.
Okay, we'll go to commercial break early here so we can get back to some Jets talk. Yes. Sean Reynolds, who's been there every step of the way for us, is coming back. I got to be honest with you. When it wasn't looking great for the Winnipeg Jets in Game 7, late in the third, I'm like, man, I don't think we'll ever get Sean on our show ever again.
Would we have had him on for a post-mortem?
I wouldn't have done that to him yet.
You wouldn't have done it?
No. We're not that mean.
We don't do that to him.
No.
We love Sean.
But now he's coming just the way he left us last.
Excited.
Excited.
Yes.
With Jets Talk.
Let's go, Jets Talk, baby.
After the break, Sean Reynolds. Don't go away. Welcome back to the program. As a reminder, this hour, Real Kyper and Bourne, brought to you by Bet365. Nick Kypreos, Justin Bourne, Sammy McKee. Let's welcome in Sean Reynolds, who has had the last few days to catch his breath. Mm-hmm. We haven't had him on since...
After Game 2, I think.
The heroic effort by the Winnipeg Jets. So 25 years from now, Sean, when I just go to Winnipeg and I just say 1.6 seconds, like... What are people going to remember? Like, just where were you? Like, were you in the press box? Where were you? What was going through your mind watching this thing unfold in Game 7?
Well, I'll tell you what that number means. My cousin called me up, and he is a massive. He lives out in BC and has for most of his life. Was born in Winnipeg. He's going to get a 1.6 tattoo. I think he's going to get it right on the lower back.
That's incredible.
But I mean, absolutely. And the best part about it is I think the actual number was 2.2, but that's what was on the clock, right? And so you're asking where I was. I mean, I was up in the press box and you're watching this unfold and you're thinking, I don't know. I felt like the Jets were getting in there, but they needed a bounce. And then they get that bounce to make it 3-2. That goal shouldn't go in. It's a pass across the ice. This is the hockey gods reaching down, grabbing the puck and throwing it past Jordan Binnington in this situation to make it 3-2. And then, I mean, all the things that unfold, Pavel Buchnevich has that puck at one point. No one's around him. He can just skate it right out of the zone, probably kill the clock right there. And the St. Louis Blues are moving on, and he ices it to create that scenario. Then Nikolai Ehlers fans on the shot, and it just goes right to Adam Lowry, who gets it right back to him, which just kind of adds, you know what it's like, Nick, you're on the ice. It adds another layer of confusion for the defense, right? Because they're reacting to the missed shot. Now it's right back to the guy, and then he moves it over to Kyle Connor in front of the net. But I mean, when it goes in, the place explodes. You instantly look at the clock because you were thinking there wasn't enough time for this. And you see that 1.6 seconds. So it's funny because in the end, the score sheet is going to say 2.2, but I think that number was tattooed on the hearts of Winnipeg Jets fans as soon as it was left sitting up on that jumbotron. And I got to tell you, I mean, the whiteout is an insane environment at any point, but it was like nothing I'd ever seen before. Like, it was almost like the players weren't on the ice. People didn't usually, the players score and people jump up and they're waving at the players. It was like everyone turned and looked away from the ice, and they were hugging and they were crying. And it was just this kind of euphoric atmosphere. And in Winnipeg, there's always this feeling, and this doesn't just go back to the last couple of years, and this is how it's been over the last couple of years. This goes back to the days when, the Jets thought maybe this is our year to get past the 80s Edmonton Oilers, and the Oilers would burst their bubble. And there's just always been this feeling, that something is going to come and nab the Winnipeg Jets. And this time the tables were turned, and it really felt like a slaying of a ghost in there. And the relief that came from it was like nothing I've ever felt in a building like that before.
Well, and what's crazy, like if you're an elite golfer, on 18 and you hit 1 to 2 feet and it's a memorable shot and everyone loves it, you still have to make the putt. And the Jets went out and they finished the game. They made that 1.6 seconds matter. They made it relevant. And now everyone gets a fresh start. Everyone gets a clean slate. And that includes Connor Hellebuck. That's the conversation everyone's having. So I have to ask you about it. Everyone says to me, do you think you can find it in round 2? And I said, I don't know. I'll ask Reynolds when he's on.
Yeah. So, I mean, I feel like there's a lot of people, Connor Hellebuck is deified in this market. He's a god in this market. So people don't like questioning him when things aren't going well for him. People say, and I think I think we do it on our broadcasts. I think everyone does it in their analysis. He'll go out and his numbers will be like 742 and he'll win the game 7-6. And all the analysts will say, well, he stopped one more than the other guy. You know what I mean? Like, everyone's always looking to apologize for those behavior or for when things aren't going well for him. Connor Hellebuck was the second best goalie in 6 of 7 games in this series. Jordan Binnington was brilliant in this series. His only off game, I thought, was game 5. All 4 of those goals that are scored in game 7, he had no chance of stopping, right? He did everything that he possibly could. I would be probably the most pessimistic guy in the city of Winnipeg about Connor Hellebuck and his chances of turning things around. But to me, I just think that when you win a game like this, and I've used this example, it reminds me of, the Red Sox had that curse going for 80 some odd years. And what it took for them was to go down 3-0 to the Yankees back in 2004 and then come storming back and pull off the impossible. And after that, you just saw them rolling. Because very few people remember that the best team in baseball that year was the St. Louis Cardinals, who everyone thought was going to destroy Boston. And it went a different way because I think when things like this happen, all of a sudden there's this feeling of invincibility that you get, this confidence. Confidence means everything, and the Jets have it in spades now. And I really do think you get through a series like that. And Connor Hellebuck, who the outside stereotype is that the Jets rely far too often on Connor Hellebuck. That hasn't been true for years now. Connor Hellebuck has been having a day at the spa behind this ferocious Winnipeg Jets defense for years now. But I think he gets out of this and he thinks to himself, you know what? Forget worrying about how I am. I don't need to be great. We just went out and won a series when I was the second best goalie in 6 of 7 games. Maybe I'm just going to go out, take a deep breath, relax a little bit. I think it's going to do Connor Hellebuck well. And if the Jets find Connor Hellebuck, there's another level that they can take compared to what we saw with them against the Blues.
You're watching and listening to Sean Reynolds, who covers the Winnipeg Jets for Hockey Night in Canada and the Real Kyper and Bourne Show with Jets Talk. Hey, my good buddy here mentions a fresh start here in the second round, but how fresh is it here? Is there not so much a worry, but a concern that maybe St. Louis took too much out of them in the first round here?
Oh, I mean, it's a good question. That said, the Jets look like tonight they're going to have their full forward group on the ice for the first time in the playoffs. So, yeah, that was a hard series. But Gabe Vilardi checked in late to it. Nick Ehlers checked in late to it. Kyle Connor really didn't get the St. Louis Blues threw a lot of hits. They didn't seem to get a piece of Kyle Connor. Mark Scheifele's had a couple games rest here, so he gets to check back into this. It's a good question because of all the ice time that those guys like Neil Pionk and Dylan Samberg had to play in that game 7. I don't know. I don't feel that. They don't look like a team that's beaten down to me. They looked pretty darn fresh today when they were skating. The dressing room was a vibrant place. And you know how it is. Like when you're feeling very poorly physically, it's hard to be up and joking around with your buddies and going and whipping them with the towel and stuff like that. And that was the vibe I got from the dressing room today. That was a hard series, no doubt. The Winnipeg Jets, though, have been grinding all season long. They're not a team that takes nights off, so they're used to this. They've been trained in the fire. They're the kung fu master who made them punch the board 5,000 times to harden up their knuckles. That's this Jets team. So I personally think they're going to be just fine.
So only other injury update then is waiting on Josh Morrissey. Is that right? And Logan Stanley?
Josh Morrissey and Logan Stanley, who were both out of the non-contact jerseys today, so they're probably pretty close. I don't know enough to know what's happening with Miro Heiskanen, other than he looked really good in the morning skate this morning, and he's not wearing a non-contact jersey either. But I mean, if both Logan Stanley and Josh Morrissey checked into this series before Miro Heiskanen did, I wouldn't be surprised.
I am really looking forward to the matchup of Rantanen versus Kyle Connor. And Kyle's shown that he can play with the big boys in this league as a winger here. And this could be an interesting matchup.
Yeah, I mean, you take a look at he basically showed up for every game in this series. I don't know. I think he was maybe held off the score sheet in game 6. But Kyle Connor got it done. This is an interesting one because we've seen Mikko Rantanen a whole bunch of times this year because we saw him play all his games with the Colorado Avalanche against the Jets, and then I believe 2 that he played with Carolina. So an extra 2 there, and then 1 more at the end of the year with Dallas.
He's only played the Jets this year. No wonder his stats are bad.
Like 1/10 of his season, 10% of his season is against the Winnipeg Jets.
That's fun.
And he struggled. He struggled against the Jets in that kind of suffocating style. That said, what we saw from him towards the end, I mean, we saw he never really got off the ground in Carolina, and he didn't look, the whole Dallas Stars team seemed to be struggling as they headed into the playoffs. That's a different team now. Like there's a game late in the season where there's a chance for Dallas to catch Winnipeg for the President's Trophy, and they come in, they play each other, and the Jets kind of laid a bit of a beating on them. That's not the team the Jets are going to be expecting here tonight. And Miro Heiskanen is not expected to be the player that they played against earlier. That guy, I've had NHL defensemen describe it to me before. He's just a beast. You can't overpower him. If he gets the puck on the other side of you, you can't reach the puck because he's so big. Mm-hmm. But then you add to that elite level skill, playmaking ability, and goal scoring ability. I've been told by defenders in this league, he's one of the hardest guys in the league to defend against.
So do you expect a much different series from Dallas than they saw out of St. Louis? How do you handicap this one? I know you're going to pick the Jets in the end, I'm sure, but good team in Dallas.
Well, to be honest with you, I had thought whoever came out of the series between the Blues and the Jets was going to lose to either the Colorado Avalanche or Dallas Stars when they came out of that. When special things like this happen, like that come from behind win, I think it changes everything. Everything gets thrown out the window, so I almost don't know what to expect. On paper, I would suggest the Dallas Stars should win this series. The fact that they're back on top, the fact that a guy like Mikko Rantanen is playing the way we know that he can play, the fact that guys like Robertson are probably coming back in tonight and Heiskanen will be back, I would think they have that opportunity. The thing that fascinates me is I've got miles of respect for Jim Montgomery and what he does as a game planner. The Jets, as a team, their strength isn't their individuals, right? Like no one's looking at the Jets 2C, Vladislav Domestikov, and being like, yeah, okay, we're going to trade out our 2C for that 2C. And yet in game 5 and game 7, he plays huge roles in those games. The Jets are a system. They're a system of hockey that the team is so locked down and committed to, and their details are right, and their effort is right. And so they are one unit, and that makes them really, really hard to beat. Montgomery did the best job I've seen of any coach this year, finding the holes in that system and exploiting them. So I asked Pete DeBoer about that coming into the game today, and he'd said, he's taken a look at it and they've really dug into it. Now, they're two different kinds of teams. The Dallas Stars are a little bit more skill-based than the St. Louis Blues are, so maybe they don't want to be playing the kind of workman-like game that the St. Louis Blues did. But I do think the St. Louis Blues put out a bit of a blueprint on if you want to beat the Jet system, which the Dallas Stars had a hard time doing this year. Here's some of the ways that you can do it. So I'm very fascinated to see kind of the coaching, the chess match that happens between these two, because the only way you beat the Winnipeg Jets is if you break their system. And sometimes when you break it, what it looks like is those games in St. Louis where it gets broke and it shatters, right? And then the other team walks all over them. Everyone's wondering, they always think, oh, the Jets didn't try in that game. No, it's when their system is on, you can't break it and they roll over you. But when you break it, you roll over them. So if this is a very, very tight series, I think it goes the Jets' way. If 2-3 games, the Dallas Stars find a way to break things wide open, a la Monty, the Jets could be in trouble in this one.
Sean, great job bringing your A game once again to our show.
Anytime, guys. Thanks.
All right, have fun
buddy.
covering this second round. Winnipeg, Dallas tonight.
Going to be a good series, boy.
Full host of forwards.
Yeah, that's great news for the Jets. There's some talk for you. I get a
Yeah, he
group.
mentioned Montgomery for St. Louis. At the end of the day, Scott Arniel, as the head coach, comes out on top. At times, I was critical of him. Not in Game 7 because I thought pull
Yeah, you got
Hellebuck,
an opinion tweet out of you.
right? Yeah,
Never seen it before.
I know. I was just feeling like
I retweeted
it
it,
was-
just to make sure everyone saw
it was.
you don't have
critical
8,000,
point.
100,000 followers, so I thought I'd
Yeah.
make sure everyone
But
saw.
I actually was critical of him leaving Hellebuck in the other games as well,
Yep.
in the blowouts where it's like 3-1, 4-1, even at 4-1 but 5-1 you can't come back for him if he lets in another bad goal.
Right.
That's the one that, and unfortunately in Game 7 he didn't let the next one in.
Yeah.
But man, there's a fine line, right, between what message do you send if you pull him or not. And we're not talking about just any goalie. We're talking about what's
It is different
considered-
because it's him,
It's
right?
different because it's him. And I don't know if you experience it early. Do you wait until a period's over or the game's out of hand, or do you go, maybe it's not his night again and make a switch? But
You just live and die with this guy, right?
yeah, that's what Scott did.
Yeah.
And good on him. It paid off one last time. He had one more crack at pulling him or not pulling him. And fortunately, in Game 7, it worked out.
It worked out.
They did a great job. After they went down 3-1, they were the better team for the whole third period. I thought they really and they did a great job. They treated him like he was an AHL goalie back there. They were selling out on everything. Like, they limited the high danger chances against
They
him.
were so good in overtime, too.
He was dying to give another one up. Dying to. And they didn't let him.
No, I thought he was better
Well,
because
the puck hit him a bunch of times. He didn't make one big save.
he
that
was out
entire-
of the blue paint a lot more.
Sure.
Than
New
I saw.
series. New
Sure,
series for
sure.
the guy.
But what I'm saying is the Jets felt what they know what was happening with him, and they played great in those
Yeah.
two. And they can't let the series go to 7 games.
They turned it up.
By the way,
I
because
am-
Pete DeBoer is the coach of the other team. They
Oh,
will
yes.
I am a little concerned about an emotional letdown. Physically, they're fine, but emotionally, to come off that high
lose. Yeah.
and then go into a Game 1 right now,
And be like,
there
clean slate.
could be a tough adjustment early,
For
or,
sure.
or not. I don't know,
The
but
slate
point.
can
No,
get dirty
I've,
real quick.
I've seen it before,
Yeah.
where you try to pick up where you left off, but like you've never been at that spot before.
Mhm.
There's no way you could ever have a more emotional first round
No.
win than that. Like, that's as emotional as it gets.
So we'll see how early they can pick up that energy going into Game 1 tonight.
Okay, we got to get to a couple things. First off, Isles GM search is one, but it's not really what I want to talk about.
What do you want to talk about?
I want to talk about the Andlauer thing.
Oh,
So the Sens fan, he sent a letter to the Sens fans, right?
Are you guys going to make fun of
yes.
Michael?
Yeah.
Lauer?
Yeah, absolutely.
What do you say?
Would you like me to read the excerpt that
Sure.
particular?
It's just funny because of one part.
What made you laugh?
Okay, here we go. It's a little, the writing's a little small here. Your passion was on full display at our home games in the playoffs. I've never seen anything like the ovation inside Canadian Tire Center when we tied Game 6 in the third period. I'm not sure there's another fan base that would have stayed in their seats to cheer on their team after they were eliminated.
Meanwhile, Jets fans are like, I'm sorry, what?
If
Of course we would have.
If the empty net goal by Ridley Gregg was the highlight from last year, I can almost stop reading. Certainly, your passion and appreciation in Game 6, which sent shivers down my spine, was the highlight of this season.
That's all.
The empty net goal.
Don't outright
Leave
us.
him alone.
No.
Listen, I
That's
like Andlauer. I think he's an
embarrassing.
awesome owner, and I love what the Sens
He's
are doing.
selling a product. He's got to sell season tickets.
The highlight of the season was an empty netter where his guy got cross-checked in the neck.
For him, it was.
And then guess what happened after that? Leafs got the hottest they've been all year. They won 6 in a row right after that. So the highlight of his season was spurning the Leafs onto a
It's
6-game
a funny
winning.
thing to
It's
be
absurd.
like, the best part of the
You don't
year
have to
was
say
an
anything.
empty netter.
You don't have to say anything bad. You don't have to say anything bad. That's the most embarrassing thing ever. Sorry.
Not the most
Yes,
embarrassing,
it's so embarrassing
thing ever.
Like that is like everybody talk. Sens don't want to be little brother. Sens don't want to be little brother. And then all they do is be like, "We're the little brother." It's just they can't stop with the little brother stuff.
I had to open
It's
that door
still
for
a
McKee.
new toy for Michael and
Sure.
Lauer still.
And
He's
they
still
are- it's a good
feeling it
toy.
out, and he's trying to sell, and he's got corporate partners, and he's got a lot of partners
Right.
at the ownership side. Let him create some
Yeah.
energy,
So
buddy.
the two highlights of the 2 seasons were an empty netter against the Leafs and losing to the Leafs.
Okay.
Great.
We opened the door.
You know what?
I opened the door.
Great job,
for
Hey,
McKee.
hey, Michael, come and spend a couple of days here. We'll watch Sammy work as a producer, and then you get to critique him.
Oh, I'm terrible. I mean, he knows that. if he watches the show, he knows that. Hi, Michael.
All right. Isles GM search sped up by draft lottery win. Sounds like the Isles are Arthur Staple tweeted.
Kenny Holland serious.
Kenny Holland seems to be front runner. Sounds like if Bergevin doesn't get thrown a bag by LA, he'd be next up.
Can I ask you guys a question?
Yeah.
All due respect to those guys who've had awesome careers. Is there not anyone new?
New guys don't exist.
Is it just not allowed to go new?
I think as an ownership group, sometimes you're just scared
Scared.
of too new or too inexperienced.
Yeah, I
or-
don't want a rookie there either.
No,
So
it's true. It's tough. It's a tough spot. And those guys have both been good. So like Kenny Holland, tons of cops, been the engineer of great teams. But it's just
Can you throw all the money at Doug Armstrong? Can
No, that's
we
not
already,
happening.
we already tried that here in Toronto.
I know.
Quickly, Mammoths. Our dear,
Utah Mammoth.
our dear friend Ryan Smith.
Tusks up, baby.
I got our boy Jake. That is a spectacular sweater.
Look at that. Look at the mountain range in the head there. The Wasatch Mountains.
What do you think?
I think that would look really good.
hanging behind us.
Yes.
No.
It would look really
Captain
good.
Clayton Keller.
We've got the one without the logo, and now we need one with the logo.
Full credit to them for keeping the very basic, clean jersey.
Colors are great.
I kind of thought initially, uninspired. It's their jersey.
Yeah.
I like that they didn't do some whole new
And
overhaul.
the away whites do not have that logo on them. It says Utah on it still
That's
with that logo on the shoulder, which I love. So there you go.
Mammoth, baby. That's a really good handle.
Great job, Rye, our close personal friend.
Yeah, way to go, right.
Once
We
again,
love you, buddy.
very fast 2 hours in hockey right here on the Real Kyper and Bourne Show. Our thanks to Luke Fox in the first hour, Jack Michaels in the second hour, and of course our Sean Reynolds. 2 games on tap tonight, Florida and Toronto, 7 p.m. Eastern. Dallas and Winnipeg, 9:30 p.m. Eastern. Sit back, relax, enjoy the night. We're back tomorrow on the Real Kyper and Bourne Show.